Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Kernels of Truth, brought to you by Progress Kentucky. Thank you so much for joining us this week. We got a heck of a lot of great stuff to cover. We have got an update on Forward Kentucky Summit 2025. So we'll be hearing from the organizer of that event, Kentucky Forward, Bruce Maples, and it's a great event. Looking forward to sharing it with you. We also are just doing a lot about checking in on national Kentucky political stories, right? So Kentucky politicos have been kind of all over the news this week. We wanted to highlight some of those. And so we're not going to dig in on too much on the kind of state level politics and policy, but do a little bit more of the national level stuff. Which we don't usually do, but seems like the appropriate week to do it. So that's what we'll do this week. Thanks for joining us. So before we get into that, we're going to do our biting lists. If folks got something they want to bite, obviously we do this Wednesday. We're doing it live Wednesday. If you're watching with us on YouTube or Facebook, awesome. Hello, hope you're doing okay. The news has just broken. That Charlie Kirk from Turning Point USA has died. He was, shot while speaking in Utah. Really just horrific. I will say this, I don't know much about Charlie Kirk. I didn't follow him closely. He obviously was, I think, instrumental for the conservative movement. I just without question, I wish his family the best. This is horrible. Political differences should never be, settled through violence. That's not how we do it. We have a democracy as of this writing. So, it really is important that folks keep that in mind. Obviously, this has been there's been a lot of political violence recently. The Speaker of the House of Wisconsin, Minnesota, shot and killed along with other folks, and that crazy person's murder list. So there's a lot of hypocrisy around there about this stuff. We're doing flags at half mast for Charlie Kirk. I don't think Trump even mentioned, the Midwest murders. It's like, but yeah, obviously the left does not condone political violence, and Charlie Kirk should not have been murdered. We should have sorted out, he was a big master debater, so we should have debated him about our ideas and our policies, and no one should be shooting anyone over their political views. Who knows what, the real story is, and I'm sure more will be found out in the coming hours and days and weeks. Thoughts and prayers to his family, to his kids, for sure. That's horrible.
All right. Yeah, don't kill the guy. Just deplatform him.
Yeah.
Just don't give him a platform for stuff.
Just beat his ideas. You don't need to beat him physically. You don't need to, I think so. It's really just wrong. Anyway, so, let's do our quick intros, who you are, where you are, and who's on your biting list this week. And I'll just go ahead and say it. Like, I'm Aaron. I'm coming to you from Lexington. My biting list is short. It's the guy that shot Charlie Kirk, because this is just horrifically unhelpful in the political conversation. Like, people should not, I'm sure this guy's going to have quite a few screws loose, because that's what it takes to, head to political violence. But that's my biting list, whoever the guy is. Chris, how about you?
I'm here in Berea, Kentucky. And as far as the biting list, I'm tired. I'm not biting anybody this week. But there are a few people that I might get the energy to if they came around. But we're trying to condone political violence, so I'll try not to bite anybody.
I guess we could have pulled the biting list this week. I'm pretty sure Tyler Childers is not encouraging anyone to actually, get the rabies and go on a biting spree. But yeah, it's just a fun song, people.
But yeah, so the Charlie Kirk thing, like, yeah, we could just deplatform these people and just not give them attention, and they'll go away. They're backed by big money, and they keep getting in places where, in front of people and platformed and all this other stuff. So here we are.
All right. Let's do news of the week. got some important stories to cover. And I think, actually kind of in keeping with this, like, yeah, political ideas, we shouldn't ever resort to political violence. We're going to highlight some folks that generally we don't have, that much agreement with, right? So this first one really ran across this today. I thought it was really interesting. So as we all know, the Epstein files are a thing. Trump is just lying lying about it. People are lying for him. He's just trying to make it old news, even though drip, 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 always, new developments that just show how close the two were. Oh, obviously that's his forged signature, because that's quite the long con. The person who, forged Donald's signature 30 years ago in a birthday message to Epstein, which clearly everyone knew the guy was filthy and gross, because all the comments in that book that have been shared, so many of them were a reference to, his illegal pursuit of underage girls. How gross. And Donald clearly knew about it too. Or else maybe there's some other secret. Who knows? Maybe it's taking Russian money. I don't know what the other secret is, but it just, it's so gross to watch them all just dispute it, right? So our own Thomas Massie, who I have very little use for politically, is showing that he's really got a spine. He's got courage, and he's doing the right thing here, despite Trump's, absolute hatred for him now, and the fact that they're finding and funding a challenger. Turns out one of the billionaires that is behind Massie's, the PACs that are going after Massie, is on the Epstein list, oddly enough. So really is just disgusting. But we have a clip, I think, from an interview he did with some folks from the Lincoln Project. Can we pull that up?
Is it that Republicans fear Trump so much, but they agree with you privately? Are you just talking about that for a minute?
Yeah.
Is that it?
That's it. That's it in a nutshell. I don't think my colleagues are happy about covering up for pedophiles, but that's what's happening. And it's so sick and twisted. The reason they're doing it is because they're terrified of President Trump's political machine. Not just his legislative affairs folks are reaching out from the White House to every Republican member of Congress who might think about co-sponsoring this. They're getting calls from the political machine that Donald Trump runs. We've got members of Congress who have aspirations of running for statewide office, and they can't win a statewide office in a Republican primary with Donald Trump on the other side. So they're terrified of him. With three big exceptions, 3 women have co-sponsored this resolution: Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, and Nancy
Why
Mace.
aren't they terrified of President
I
Trump?
think, number one, because they're women, they feel obligated to take up for the women who've been abused.
Yeah, so hard to dispute any of that. Hard to disagree with any of that. Chris, what do you think about our man Thomas Massie?
I am so happy to see that Kentucky, has a spine. Unlike our representative here in Kentucky, Andy Barr, who is happy to crawl under.
Excuse me. What? Excuse me. What is his name?
Harlan Garland. What? Oh gosh, I butchered it. I don't care.
We cannot give him, as opposed, because the next story that's coming up, we do not want to give him the benefit of the Andy, right? We cannot give him Andy positivity confusion. His name is not Andy. It is Garland Hale Barr the fourth. And he claims Andy, but there's only one Andy on the Kentucky political scene. We'll be talking about him in a minute.
But to also talk about some of the other craziness centered around the Epstein files this week, like the Speaker Johnson was trying to throw out that Trump was secretly spying on him. He was doing that, and it's like, I think that would have came out pretty early on if that were the case, and Trump wouldn't say that it's a hoax. Just throwing it out there casually, like, yeah, that's what's happening. No. No.
Just all these Republicans lining up to dispute that that's his it's clearly a forged signature. What?
Yeah. And Marjorie Taylor Greene standing up, I mean, this is Jewish space laser lady, like, that deep into conspiracy and nuttery, and she's going to stand up for them. I think part of this, this is just me speculating, is she's mad at Trump for not getting a cabinet position, because she was fighting hard to get VP, and at least something in the cabinet. That was for sure, and she got nothing. So I think there's a little bit of resentment there.
Maybe, maybe justifiably so. Especially after her boyfriend asked so many softball questions to Trump and helped tee up the international incident over, the suit or not suit, what the Ukrainian president was wearing in the Oval Office. Anyway, whatever their motivation is, I think they're right to do it. I think they've all been kind of, indoctrinated into the fact that Epstein didn't kill himself, that it was all this, conspiracy of, the billionaire, millionaire political class, the elites, and they're going to take them down. Oddly that they didn't think like, oh, hey, our guy's like really pretty chummy with him for a really long time. But yeah, no, they they're all in and they're going to keep going come hell or high water. I hope, because I think it helps weaken Trump's political standing, and that's always a good thing, generally. All right. So on a related note, we've had our politicians have been in the national eye this week. Andy Bashir has been about everywhere. The guy's got a podcast. Welcome to the job, Governor Bashir. It's a fun gig. I'm sure his numbers put ours to shame, but that's okay. That's fine. There's plenty of internet for everybody. But I did want to just point out his appearances have been, I think, really getting better and better. I think there's a value of doing it a lot, because he's a guy who was in our homes every day for how many, a year ish. With the COVID crisis, he was very calming, reassuring, but he wasn't really that compelling as a figure. I think he's getting better and more compelling, which is a good thing, because if he's going to run for president, spoiler, then he needs to be better on the stump and better, just kind of interacting with people. So I think the Seth Meyers clip, which I think we've got something to show from that, really, I think he did a fantastic job and really represents our state proudly. Parker, can we pull it up?
You are a Democratic governor in a state that many would say that can't possibly be true.
Many.
Yeah. You won by 1% your first time out, and then 5% your next time out. This is a state that Donald Trump carried by 30%? Is that about right? So I think everybody maybe is looking to you to ask this question of what is the secret, and what would you say is the best advice you give to them?
The best advice I can give is 3 parts. First, make sure you're spending that 80% of your time on people's everyday needs. If people don't believe they have a job that can support their family, pay the grocery bill, or maybe even take their family on vacation every once in a while, they'll vote for anybody that they truly believe is fighting for them. So 80% of our time on jobs, on healthcare, on infrastructure, on education, and on public safety. The second thing I tell them is, let's start talking like normal human beings again. Not talking at people, but talking to people. We've let these terms like substance use disorder or food insecurity become a part of our lingo that you wouldn't use in talking with your friend. In other words, if I was going to talk about the damage of that big, ugly bill, if I tell you more seniors or more children are going to be food insecure, that's not going to have an impact. But if I tell you they're going to go hungry when they go to bed at night or wake up in the morning. But the last part I think is the most important. People are looking for authenticity. People who are being real and leveling with them. Democrats are really good at the what. We're really good at the policy position, point 2, sub point 3, bullet point 4. But we're very bad at talking about our why we made a decision.
Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good appearance. I feel like he's getting better and better. And he's got a while before he has to really take it to the number one most important audience, which is the voters. primary voters, and it'll be very interesting to see who's lining up against. But mark my words, the man is running for president. Which and we talked about this last week. I really like the idea of him running for the Senate, but clearly, he's gamed it out, and the Senate is not either where he wants to be, or he doesn't think he could get there. And I think if he doesn't get there, then he's damaged, and he probably can't run for president with much credibility, right? So
I mean, as far as the clip is concerned, great clip. What he's saying is spot on. I feel like he looks a little stiff still. But he could relax a little bit and be good. But he's definitely going to run for president. There's been a lot of people talking, trying to, I guess, persuade him to run for Senate instead of president. Now's the time for us to have Andy as president. Like, he's plain spoken. He's not going to BS you. He's able to win this very red state, and maybe he can actually do that across the nation.
Yeah.
If he can pull across the aisle everywhere or most places, then we've got a shot to win the presidency.
That's the theory, right? That's his operating theory, I think, is that that's what he's going to sell to funders and the folks he needs to get lined up behind his campaign so he can run a legitimate campaign, because that's not cheap. But yeah, I think it's a compelling argument. I think anyone running for president, it's a long shot, right? So there's a side of me, it's like, hates to see his political talents not put to work on the thing that's the most immediate and most the thing he can actually touch and have an impact on for sure, which is that Senate race. And of course, if we want to stop Trump, we've got to flip the House, and it'd be awfully helpful if we could flip the Senate. It's really hard to flip the Senate. It's hard to see the path to do that. The House is a little easier, although all the stuff that's happening with this kind of, pre-census redistricting garbage, is obviously making it more challenging. But yeah, so that's I guess where I'm most just conflicted, because I do think he's an incredibly talented politician, and one that I think could win our state. The only politician in Kentucky who could win that Senate seat.
Yeah,
I don't know, but hey, maybe we'll be surprised. So I think we got another story. This one I think about another Kentucky politico making some smart, informed remarks.
Yeah, we have another federally recognized politician and from the state that is making some headlines that we normally don't agree with. Well, I think typically, Rand Paul, we're like, he's a broken clock. We agree with him like twice a day, or not twice. Yeah, maybe not twice a day.
Maybe not twice a
year. Yeah. But he made a nice comeback to J.D. Vance regarding J.D. Vance's tweet saying, killing cartel members who poison our fellow citizens is the highest and best use of our military. And he was clapped back by someone named Brian Krasenstein saying, killing the citizens of another nation who are civilians without any due process is called a war crime. And J.D. Vance said, I don't give a shit what you call it. And which is wow. And then our Rand Paul clapped back to Vance, from this, and said, did he ever read To Kill a Mockingbird? Did he ever wonder what might happen if the accused were immediately executed without trial or representation? What a despicable and thoughtless statement it is to glorify killing someone without a trial. And I couldn't agree more. We have due process in this country. And, the fact that our Supreme Court came out this week and said that the Trump administration could racially profile people in LA to get immigrants out. I mean, we're losing civil liberties. I'm going off on a tangent at this point, but just because all of this stuff kind of piles on, and at what point is it going to stop? At what point does they're racially profiling Latino folks? Who's next? When they're done with them, or maybe they're not even done with them, and they just decide that they want to go after somebody else. Who's next? We have due process, and we have constitutional rights, and they've got to, if they're wanting to go after bad actors, there's a certain way to go after bad actors that allow for due process and people to live lives in a reasonable way, and we still get the bad actors out. This has been done for a very long time, and many of the presidents before were able to work through and with the law appropriately without infringing upon a lot of this stuff and do it. Now, has other presidents infringed upon the law here and there? Yes, they have, and that's bad too, and we don't want that. But this has become egregious. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's outrageous that they're using the military to, act on intelligence. It seems shoddy. I don't know. It seems like it wasn't necessarily really locked down what was going on. The Coast Guard is the team that does the interdictions and can stop boats that are doing things that are sketchy and figure it all out. The fact that they're using missiles or whatever they're doing, that just seems like a bit overkill. And I'm a little bit scared that they're just teeing it up to use the military in all sorts of other ways, right? Which they are, right? We've got National Guard in the streets of Washington, D.C., poised to go in Chicago. They've mentioned Baltimore. They've mentioned New Orleans, my former hometown. What are they doing? That's not what the military is for. It's not for they're not the police. They're not the extra police. And so they're not the federal task force. Meanwhile, you've got ICE running around with more money than anyone besides our military, right? And that is a scary sentiment. The idea that they're going to be, they're hiring like crazy, and it's not the best people. It's folks who are interested in being Trump's brown shirts, or folks who are just desperate for that, 50 grand signing bonus or whatever it is. The fact they're going to have so much money to scale up so large, Trump's not going to need to use the National Guard next year. He's going to have his own entity that people aren't going to be able to kind of call the question on nearly so much. So yeah, it's a terrifying spot we're in right now. Trump's authoritarianism is not creeping, it's leaping, and we got to be on guard. And if you're not doing anything to fight it, now's the time.
In fact, I would implore people who vehemently disagree with what ICE is doing to go and sign up for ICE just to clog the wheels. Go sign up, drain their money, and then disobey orders until they fire you. And then they're like, oh, this guy, obviously if you've posted a bunch of stuff that's anti-ICE on Facebook, they're probably going to look at that and not hire you. But if you've stayed quiet on social media, then by all means go in there and sign up and clog the wheels. We need that kind of good trouble, and people just getting in there and doing the minimal and just slow and to clog all of this up.
Clog the wheels, people. Yes. Be the wooden shoe in the gear, however you can. Awesome. All right, so I think we got a positive story. Chris always loves to have the positive stories. He likes to balance out my cynicism and negativity. Thank you so much for doing it, Chris. What do you got for us?
Yeah, so Ken Miller wrote a commentary on Kentucky Lantern. He went to the Opossum Fest and wore a shirt that said Hick Lib, that's from Kentucky for Kentucky. They do a lot of wonderful shirts. And walked around this Opossum Fest, which, if I remember correctly, he said it was in Harlan County. And he kind of did this in a frame of mind that this was a social experiment. Like, am I going to get heckled for wearing this kind of shirt? And he said, no one heckled him for this. There were people that definitely saw it, and there were quite a few people who even like gave him a big thumbs up. And he said one person yelled like across the street and was like, "Hey, I love your shirt." So there's this perception out there that there aren't, that if you wear more liberal leaning stuff in a rural area, that you're just going to get, run out of town. And that's just not the case. There are a lot of people who agree with that position. And if I see somebody wearing a cool shirt like that, I normally tell them awesome. And if people are wearing shirts I disagree with, I just don't say anything and move on. Like, they can wear that stuff. That's freedom of speech, whatever. But no one heckled him, and he even got some compliments on it. And
Nice.
so don't be afraid to wear your more left-leaning stuff. Have a good, Andy for President shirt or something. Wear that so we can get some momentum and seeing that more people are out there and caring that what's going on is not good. Maybe Melt Ice would be a good shirt to wear right now.
Yeah, Melt Ice is a good one. Good sign for your next protest, which is October 18th, just in case you were wondering. October 18th, No Kings coming up. Definitely going to want you to join us there. Wear your Hick Lib shirt. Wear your Melt Ice shirt. Maybe a Progress Kentucky shirt. Maybe we'll launch a merch store at some point. Gay Edelman is in the comments asking what the date is. I'm not sure what date you're looking for, Gay. Maybe that's the Possum Fest. Is it Opossum Fest or Possum Fest?
That is clearly Possum Fest. You know better.
Opossum. So
Yeah.
awesome. All right, I think that's it for the news of the week. Gay, we'll figure out if you click through the story, you'll have a date for Possum Fest. On the Hick Lib shirt though, our own Annabel Nagel has that shirt and wore it when she was co-hosting last time when we had Silas House on the show. So I believe if you've missed that, check it out. She owns it as well. If you want to see what it looks like. Anyway, let's talk about something coming up. A very exciting event. We are very proud to co-host Forward Kentucky Summit 2025, and we are look at there. We got a little graphic for you. It's the summit. It's the mountain. We got to climb a mountain here in Kentucky if we're going to make any political change. So bringing on to talk about the event, sell us all on joining it, is the publisher of Forward Kentucky, friend of the show, Bruce Maples. How are you, Bruce?
Doing good. Before we get to the summit, I want to encourage Chris and you, Aaron, to go watch the entire Andy Bashir clip, because at the beginning, he talks about his kids teaching him slang.
Yes.
And it's pretty funny.
It's good. Yeah, no, for sure. And I did watch the whole thing, but it's like a 7-minute clip. So, we just had to cut to the chase. But what do you think about his suggestion? Like having a why, talking like a human, being authentic?
Yeah, I think that's obviously his forte. He comes across as real. He comes across as legitimate, and he comes across as caring. And we've always made the joke about Bill Clinton. I feel your pain, but I think Andy gets that, and he does do that. I also wrote an article on the website saying he should run for Senate. I really believe if Andy Bashir ran for Senate, he would win. He might even win in a walkover. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think he's not going to do it. I don't think we're going to see Bruce. I think we're going to see that he is not going to do it. But
I agree, but I can still say I think he should. Okay, so Summit 25. So what is this? I have wanted for a long time to do some sort of meetup or convention or something. And I came across this software or service, I should say. It's an online service called Hey Summit. And they were having a sale on their service. And I looked into it and I thought, yeah, we could do something with this. So then I sat down and, brainstormed talks that would be interesting. And I had a number of local party leaders they had me in to speak, and they said, we need more of X, Y, and Z. And I thought, well, we could do something for them. And then we could do something for citizen activists who are out doing their stuff. And then we could do something for candidates. And it just sort of mushroomed into this event that I'm pretty excited about. It's Saturday, September 27th from 9 to 4. The registration ticket is a pay what you want ticket, as cheap as $1 if that's what you want to do. And the ticket gets you access to all of the live talks. You can't go to all of them, of course, because there's 18 and only 7 hours in the event. But it also gives you access to watch the recordings of all the talks for the next 60 days. So literally for $1, if that's what you do, you can get 18 hours of content, which I'm pretty excited about. If it's okay, I'd like to share this list of talks because I think that's really impressive.
Oh yeah, no, I exactly why we had you on. I wanted you to highlight a few of these folks.
Okay, so here's the list of talks broken out by local party leaders, citizens and activists, candidates and campaigns. I don't list the speakers, but many of them are names you know. They've been doing this work for a long time. And I just think it's a great lineup of interesting talks. If you're a citizen activist, which I know Progress Kentucky has a lot of those, there's How to Really Influence Your Representative. That one's delivered by Joni Jenkins. There's Know Your Rights When Protesting, which is from a lady, Angela Cooper from ACLU. Using Bill Track 50, which is the bill sheet thing we have. Jamie Luke from The Lantern is doing How to Get Your Op-Ed Published. Nice. So this is an example of the people we've got coming to do this work, and they're all just excellent. And then not listed there is the keynote at noon, which is Anderson Clayton, who is the youngest state Democratic chair in the country. She's the chair of the North Carolina Democratic Party, and they have turned that state around. And she's going to do a talk on the revival in North Carolina and how they pulled it off. Mm-hmm. So I'm very excited about the whole thing. You go to summit25.forwardky.com and hit that book my place button and sign up. Decide what you want to pay, whatever it is. We've had people pay literally as little as $1 and literally as much as $50. So it's really up to you. And then choose your talks for the live talks and you're good to go.
That's fantastic. I love that keynote. Really excited to hear, how the party in North Carolina is turning things around. Of course, they have a really popular former governor running for Senate there.
Yes.
So, maybe Roy Cooper can call Andy. No, this is great. Thanks for putting it together. Thanks for listening to the folks you were talking to. I think, having just such a impressive forum of really, informed folks to help level up our activism, level up your campaigning, level up, how you organize your party. Really important stuff. Because again, the work is serious. The challenge is significant, but Kentucky is worth fighting for. And I think these are all people who are in the trenches fighting for Kentucky every day, which is awesome.
Well, and one of your co-hosts is one of the speakers. Annabel is doing the care and feeding of volunteers.
Nice.
So that's another connection. And let me say this. This is my first time to do something like this. And it's all virtual, by the way. Somebody wasn't clear on that. The entire thing is virtual. So you can literally attend from anywhere and you can watch the talks from anywhere. So after I got it set up, I went looking for sponsors. And I, connected with some people. And I have to say thank you because Progress Kentucky was one of the very first organizations who stepped up and said, yes, we want to help sponsor this. And thank you so much. Your logo's right there on the website, on every talk, on every email. So maybe that'll get you some traction there from doing that. But I really appreciate your support.
Well, I just wanted to, I think the board was unanimous in wanting to support what you do, Bruce, because it really is important, right? We are all in this together. No one's cornered the market on how to make progressive change in Kentucky. We're all working together in our own small way to do what we can in a very challenging state. So we wanted to support you guys for sure. I'm gonna be hosting. I don't know if that's wholly behind the scenes, or if you might see my face depending on where you're logging in.
No, you will see Aaron's face at least briefly for each talk, and he'll be introducing some of these great speakers.
Okay, so yeah, I'll be there too, and I promise, Bruce, I will not talk very much.
Who's doing the talk on how to win a rural district?
Yeah, that's a good
Listen, that fell into my lap. The guy that's doing that is from Western Virginia, and
Western Virginia or Western Virginia?
No, Western Virginia.
Okay,
down there in the Appalachia, excuse me. He is a fascinating guy. He's a farmer. He's a lifelong farmer. He also has a degree in, I want to say, economics, and he has opened a political consulting shop to try and help people in his area win. And so far, he's doing really well with that. His talk, you should look at the outline. Go to the website, click on the schedule button, and then go down to his How to Win in the Rural District and look at the outline for his talk. It's one of the most complete outlines on the site. And I'm excited to see, what he's going to say. And his organization, by the way, is another sponsor. Nice. So I'm hoping that he can hook up with some of our candidates, because he has an entirely different take on how to win in rural districts. Just entirely different.
He does not say be authentic. He does not say speak like a regular human and know your why.
No, that's pretty much part of his stuff.
Oh, good.
But he talks about if you run a top-down, consultant-driven, out-of-town campaign in a rural district, you're going to lose. So, and he's proven it. I mean, he's got people that he's working with. He's also working with some people in Southern Indiana. So nice. I'm excited about what he's going to share.
I hope he talks to Ned Pillersdorf, because I really want Ned Pillersdorf to win in his rural district and take down Hal Rogers, who's been there since, God was a child or whatever. Jesus was a kid. I don't know, whatever they say. But yeah, anyone else you want to highlight? Anyone else you want to highlight that's on the agenda, Bruce?
Oh, there's just too many. Anna White's is doing something about staying legal with KREF. Anna's one of my favorite people. Lisa Norcas is doing How to Knock Doors for the Win. She's an expert at field. There's just a lot. You could go read all the bios and go, yeah. So I just want to call it all out. I think everybody who goes to that website, summit25.forwardky.com, and looks at the schedule will find at least one talk that they go, oh, I got to go to that.
Yeah.
I got to hear that.
And if every time you look at the schedule and you go, oh, I got to see that, you should add another $1 to what you pay. So I think it really at least $18. Really good stuff here. Appreciate the work, Bruce. Glad to be co-hosting and sponsoring the event with y'all. And excited to learn. I just spend some time on Saturday and learn some things. Anderson Clayton for sure. Excited to hear about that.
Yeah, all right, it's exciting, and I'm really excited that even I'm selling chocolate on the weekend, so I'm on most weekends, so I'm really busy. So hearing you tell me that I can register and pay and then watch it later, that's really valuable to me.
60 days.
Yeah.
That was something I decided early on that we need to make this stuff available. So
That's great. So while you're making chocolate, Chris, you can just kind of watch them, at your leisure.
That's right. Yeah.
That's right.
Pause them when the bonbons get super challenging.
That's right.
So anyway, this is great. Anything you want to say about the news stories besides Andy on Seth? Do you want to weigh in on Massie or Rand, the broken clocks?
Well, I did a story on both of them on the site, and kudos to both of them. I mean, libertarians, without giving away the farm, I had lunch today with a libertarian publisher. And having said that, you probably could figure out who it was. And we were talking, and I said, libertarians make me crazy. And he said, why? And I said, well, if you do the Venn diagram, they agree with progressives and liberals part of the time, and they agree with conservatives part of the time. So there are times that I see your website and I go, yeah, that's good. And there are times I go, what in the world are you thinking? And so Rand Paul and Thomas Massie are just like that.
Yeah.
There are days that I go, what in the world are you smoking? And then there are days I go, well, good for you, And so kudos to Massie and Rand Paul. They're like, we don't care what the orange Mussolini says. We're going to come out here and say what's right. And I loved it. I thought they were both great.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. All right. So I think we're going to let you go. We're going to do our call to action. But everyone, call to action, of course, is click on that link in the comments. Go ahead and register for Summit 25.
That's right.
And help us beat Project 2025. So
yes.
Awesome. All right, Bruce, always a pleasure. Appreciate you popping on. And we will see you at the Summit.
Okie doke.
Awesome. So yeah, I think a couple things we want to cover as we kind of close things out before the Summit. There's a lot going on in the next month or so. So on Sunday, September 21st, it's Sunday. Sun as like the sun in the sky. Sunday, Frankfurt. Come and join us, learn about the power of solar. Really exciting. If folks remember, if they heard Bill McKibben on the show earlier this month, last month, I don't know, recently, we'll say recently, he is the climate author, activist, really inspiring guy. He wrote Here Comes the Sun, which is a great book. I've got it right here. In fact, right here, Here Comes the Sun. Great book about how the solar energy revolution is upon us. And we don't even think Trump can stop it, probably, although I bet he can slow it down a little bit in the U.S. But we were celebrating the power of clean energy from the sun. We were inspired by his call. So this is a nationwide call to action, international call to action that he is called for in the book. And is helping to organize all across the country. So we were inspired by his conversation. We're going to co-sponsor an event on September 21st. We're doing it with friends of the show, Kentucky Conservation Committee, and also the stalwart Kentucky Solar Energy Society. So join us. It's at the Franklin County Extension Office. We'll share that link in the chat so you can find out more about it and register. But yeah, if you have questions about adding solar to your home or your business, if you wonder about storage batteries to add resilience to your home, questions about EVs, we're going to walk you through actual installations, help answer your questions with information and workshops. We've got the solar array right there. That's really cool. There's going to be a solar powered portable refrigeration trailer, solar powered camper van, and I'll be out there, and I hope you'll be out there too. So come and join us. And if you're a Progress Kentucky supporter, a member, come and hang out. It's from 2 to 4, maybe. I think that's what it is. And then we'll go to the Wessex Farm and grab a beer because we like Wessex and they like us. All right. I think that's mostly it. Chris, any final thoughts? Do you want to close us out?
Just that, the news keeps going on and there's crazy stuff happening every day. And it's important that if it gets too much, just look away. It's okay. It'll still be crazy when you get back, but keep yourself centered and have some peace of mind to keep going through this crazy time. Yeah.
Nice. For sure. All right, so let's close this out. Progress Kentucky, as you know, is a nonprofit organization. We are registered with the Kentucky Secretary of State. We are organized as a 501c4. We are affiliated with the Indivisible Project and the Common Ground Kentucky Action. Probably not probably just Common Ground Kentucky Action. We're also proud members of the Forward Kentucky Network. Progress Kentucky's goal is to educate, organize, increase voter turnout, and advance a progressive agenda through civic engagement. Please join us next week for episode 228. Our guest is going to be Victoria Stevens, who is the head of Estill County Dems. As folks know, we are laser focused for the next 14 months on the 6th district, Kentucky's 6th district, and flipping that district. So we want to connect with voters and organizers all throughout the 16 counties of the 6th district. Estill County is one of them. Victoria comes to us highly recommended by a friend of the show, Kit O'Connor. So really should be a great conversation about how you be yourself and be rural and be liberal in a rural county, which again, most of the counties in the 6th district are in fact rural. So whoever is campaigning for that seat, which there's a lot of them. We'll try to have more of them on the show soon. They're going to need to know how to do it. So Victoria's voice, I think, will be important in this conversation. Production of episode 227 was by Parker. Thank you, Parker. Nate Orshan wrote and performed our theme song. You can find more information and music at natosongs.com. And folks, if you miss our weekly live stream on Facebook or YouTube or wherever you watched it live, audio podcasts and our show notes are available on Apple, on Spotify, really wherever you get your podcasts. We're there too. If you do listen to the pod, leave us a 5-star review, please. Share out the show, whatever you can do to help us amplify our voices, grow a bigger platform so we can have more influence on the political landscape of Kentucky. That's it. That's the show. See you next week.